Hello, great people. 2027 is sure going to be an interesting political year as the PDP reportedly takes Peter Obi and El-Rufai as the presidential candidate and vice presidential candidate for the 2027 presidential election. We'll be looking at the reality of this ticket. What are the issues that is shaping the decision of the PDP, although the party stalwarts are denying. But of course, you know, when political parties begin to deny, you know that there's something in the offing. And then, what is the reality of this ticket? What are the dynamics that will shape the PDP participation and of course performance in the 2027 election? What is the personality of Peter Obi? What is the personality of El-Rufai? And what is the probability of them working together and eventually actualizing a presidency? We will be dissecting all this and a whole lot more on this episode with your show blog, Dr. Omosholade. If you are here to subscribe, please do well to subscribe to this channel. This is the channel to be at this point in time. Now let us go into the issues. El-Rufai, Peter Obi, People's Democratic Party. First, we need to know that El-Rufai and Peter Obi are currently not members of the PDP as at this time. Peter Obi is of the Labour Party and El-Rufai is of the APC. So both are not in the PDP. But can PDP bring them into its fold and offer them their presidential ticket? Of course, it has happened before. When Alhaji Atiku Abubakar cross-carpet to the PDP, he was given the presidential ticket at that point in time and he contest against Muhammadu Buhari. Again, is it possible for El-Rufai and Peter Obi to get the PDP presidential ticket? Of course it is possible. Why? Because they are both product of the People's Democratic Party. Peter Obi left the People's Democratic Party. He was the deputy of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar he was the vice presidential candidate to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar in a presidential election. And El-Rufai was nurtured politically by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Some of you don't know that El-Rufai is one of the political boys of Atiku Abubakar. It was Atiku Abubakar that discovered him, that gave him the opportunity, that suggested him to former President Olusegun Obasanjo during their presidency. And now El-Rufai is gradually working his way back into the Atiku camp. So is it possible for them to go back to the PDP? Of course it is possible. Now, having established that, one thing we need to now establish is who will be the president out of the two. Who will be the presidential candidate? Who will be the vice presidential candidate? You may want to think that it's easy. You may want to say, okay, it will be El-Rufai, it will be Peter Obi. But what are the dynamics that will truly shape it? Or should we say, who is best to be the presidential candidate? One, I will go for Peter Obi as the presidential candidate, El-Rufai as the vice presidential candidate, because of one thing. Obi carries with him over 6 million votes. Obi has been tested in a presidential election before. Nigeria's presidential election is a very tough, it's a very rigorous, a very rugged terrain. It is for the strong, the high and the mighty. And Obi has proven that he's one of those strong, one of those high, and one of those mighty. In the last election, despite the fact that they moved over to the Labour Party not too long before the election, Obi was able to amass a whooping over 6 million votes, so much so that he defeated President Bola Tinubu, then candidate of the All Progressive Congress, in his political enclave, Lagos State. So that kind of material, if Bola Tinubu is going to be on the ballot again, which is going to be, and if you are now returning Peter Obi, it will be dangerous to return Peter Obi as a vice presidential candidate. No, Obi will then return as a presidential candidate to face Bola Tinubu again. So Obi deserves to be the presidential candidate because he already has the experience, because he already has over 6 million votes, and he may have more votes than that in the next election if the performance of the Tinubu administration is anything to go by. Because people were rating Bola Tinubu that, he has the intellectual acumen to lead Nigeria from where it is to where it ought to be. But then most people have been disappointed based on the level of hardship, the level of poverty that most Nigerians have witnessed. And another thing that the presidency will favor Obi as a presidential candidate is the Southern presidency argument. Bola Tinubu is a Southerner. Buhari spent 8 years, and by 2027, the argument that power should remain in the South for 8 years will still subsist. So at that point in time, what do you think? Do you think that an El-Rufai candidacy will fly? No. The Southern, it will face some form of hostility from the South. So for that reason, for that Southern, argument, Southern bias as regards where the presidency should be, then the argument favors Peter Obi at this point in time. And I've said it before that Peter Obi, this 2027 is his last opportunity, or should I say his most vibrant opportunity, because by 2031, the argument will be that power should become to the North. The North are already yearning for power. They can't wait to, have it. And when they have it, they want to have it till 2039. And by that time, new political superstars would have emerged. Now, Peter Obi El-Rufai has been touted by the PDP, although the PDP, some of their stalwart are denying it, some of their stalwart are against it, but it is what some of their political leaders is also considering. Now, let us look at it. Are they a good combination? That's another thing that we can look at. Peter Obi El-Rufai, are they a good combination? Well, I can say that to a significant extent, they are a good combination, because if you look at El-Rufai is a Muslim from the north, or should I say a core Muslim, is a Muslim that, is dancing in between being an extremist and being, a normal Muslim. You know that El-Rufai, according to the leaked tape some time ago, shares some extremist views. So if you look at it, El-Rufai goes well with the conservative Muslim of the north. He also goes well with the extremist Muslim of the north. You remember the bandits, the alleged importation of bandits when Buhari was to become the president of Nigeria. So some of these people, they will be comfortable with El-Rufai. Some of these people that share this, extremist perspective, and the votes from those kind of people, El-Rufai as the vice presidential candidate will be able to win such vote. And another thing is that Peter Obi happens to be a Christian, and we may want to look at something about El-Rufai, that this, should I say, semi-extremist perspective, won't it, affect El-Rufai in the south? Will the southern people affect him? Yes, they will affect him, because the southerners are proving that they don't really care about all these extreme perspective about religion. They just want to live, they want to enjoy, they want to progress in life, they want to make money, and to use street parlance, they just want to flex. Most southern people, whether it is the southeast people, whether it is the southwest, whether it is the south, they just want to make money, have the best of life, have fun, and enjoy themselves. So they don't place much emphasis about religion. And that is why Bola Tinubu was able to get some substantial vote in the south, despite fielding a Muslim ticket. Now, what is another thing that we need to look at, which is that in all of this, what can work against Peter Obi? We've looked at it, that are they a good combination? And I've been able to analyze to you that, to a large extent, they are a good combination. But then, what are the flaws? Which is what can work against Peter Obi? What can work against Peter Obi, unfortunately, is the Igbophobia, if I can use that word, which is that the distrust between the Hausa Fulani ethnic group and the Igbo people. One of the things that is restraining Igbo from being the president, or should I say head of state in Nigeria during the military regime, was the distrust between the Igbo race and the Hausa Fulani ethnic group. So in that instance, would the Hausa Fulani people, the people in the corner, would they be able to trust Peter Obi? Well, you might want to say that, will Yoruba people trust him? But then Peter Obi had substantial vote in Yoruba land during the last election. If you check the record, Peter Obi defeated Tinubu in Lagos, a Yoruba on Yoruba soil, and it was quite difficult for Tinubu to defeat Peter Obi in the southeast, which is Igbo land. So if you look at it, you may want to think that, is Peter Obi not a strong candidate in the south? Of course it is. But then in the north, will the northern people have their trust in Peter Obi? Will that Igbophobia be erased, especially now that the former head of state, Ibrahim Babangida, have said that the 1966 coup was not an Igbo coup, that it was just tagged that for political reasons. So will the 2027 election, if Peter Obi is fielded, would it be an opportunity for Nigeria to right the wrongs that have been occurring over the years and give Igbo people a chance at the presidency? Or Bola Tinubu will give Peter Obi, or whoever his opposition is, a good run for their money, a good test of their strength, and a good test of their power? Will Bola Tinubu, will he be willing to conduct a free and fair election in such a way that if the world so wants his opposition to emerge, the opposition will emerge? But then you may want to think that Bola Tinubu is a power-oriented guy, and he will give up a very good fight in 2027. And that's why somebody like Peter Obi needs the a platform like the People's Democratic Party that is already a structured party, because in the Labour Party he has been experiencing some issues. Well, may the best happen to Nigeria, may the best happen to you and I, and may we be alive to witness the political drama that will occur in 2027. But from the look of things, 2027 is sure going to be very, very interesting. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politing with Dr. Omoshola. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science. Do want to subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course I have pretty interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.